How do you define a successful failure?
Learning, and how are we taking that learning and applying it to the next opportunity. Throughout our 28-year history, when we have had failures, those have ultimately resulted in some of the greatest successes we've ever had. You talk about those, particularly when someone comes to see you and they say, yeah, feeling really bad because this didn't work out. Okay, well, let me tell you about some other things that didn't work out that we learned a lot from, and let's pick ourselves back up and let's figure out what we learned from this and how we go apply that next time. When you're in the zone of doing things that no one's ever done before, if you're only succeeding, you're not taking enough risk.
How did you personally navigate those setbacks?
And at the time I was 24 years old too. So
24 years old.
New CEO of a public company and that sort of thing. You sort of deal with it in a pragmatic sense and sort through the problem. You can sort of get yourself wrapped up into any sort of emotional loop that isn't going to help you solve the problem. That's not really where I would direct my energy. Direct it to, okay, what are we going to do to solve it? How are we going to fix it? Let's move on, move forward, and do it quickly.
Why is supporting women so important to Dell right now in the company?
They're a disproportionate percentage of the new jobs that are being created are with high growth companies. Certainly, if you look at any statistics around net new employment, it's absolutely true that new business formation is critical to that. Women are creating new businesses at unprecedented rates in emerging markets and here in the United States. That's absolutely a fast growth market for Dell, and one that we think is going to be more levered to technological advancement, and so we see it as a growth market. We're doing it for commercial reasons, for economic reasons. We also think there's a social opportunity here that is unmet and unserved.
What's the landscape for entrepreneurship in countries like India and across Asia?
When we think about the next billion users coming online, clearly they're from emerging countries. What's interesting about all these new businesses being created in emerging countries is they have the opportunity to kind of leapfrog over the old ways of doing things, and that includes technology as well. And so we see lots of growth there. We've been participating in those markets from almost the inception of the enormous waves of growth that have been occurring there. Our commitment to entrepreneurs is a global one. We think what's going on in new business formation, particularly in places like India, is incredibly exciting, and we want to be there to support those customers as they become great large global companies.
Entrepreneurs often see both their successes and their failures as reflections of themselves rather than reflections of a business event. How have you been able to distinguish between the two?
I'm not sure I have been able to distinguish it all that well. I mean, and I do take it personally. Rarely will you get great insights from those kind of critiques, right? You get great insights from customers and from really studying opportunities and having a belief system and a sense of where the business is heading, a vision of where you want to take it, and really sticking to that in spite of all the noises and distractions that may be going on. I think that's really important.